My girlfriend confessed she's been paying an actor to play her abusive ex-boyfriend for 5 years to test my loyalty. The little velvet box sat on the table between us. A silent promise. 5 years. We'd made it 5 years, and I knew with every fiber of my being that I wanted to make it 50 more. When I opened the box, Chloe's hands flew to her mouth, her eyes filling with tears as she looked from the ring to me. She whispered yes before I could even finish asking the question. I felt like I was floating, but as I slid the ring onto her finger, her smile faltered. Her eyes, still wet with happy tears, now held a shadow of something I'd never seen before. Guilt. There's something I have to tell you, she said, her voice barely a whisper. Something about Mark. My stomach dropped. Mark, her abusive ex, the monster who had haunted the edges of our relationship for 5 long years. The reason we had security cameras and a deadbolt that I checked 3 times every night. What about him? I asked, my hand instinctively reaching for hers. Did he contact you again? She shook her head, pulling her hand away. No, he's not real. I just stared at her, confused. What do you mean he's not real? Chloe, I've seen him. I've talked to him. He's an actor, she said, the words tumbling out in a rushed, panicked breath. I hired him 5 years ago. It was a test. A loyalty test. For you. I couldn't process it. My mind flashed back through a montage of our greatest hits of horror. The first time we ran into Mark outside a coffee shop, just 2 months after we started dating. He'd grabbed Chloe's arm, his voice a low growl, telling her she'd made a mistake. I remember stepping between them, my heart pounding with a protective rage I'd never felt before. I remember how Chloe clung to me afterward, telling me I was her hero. It was all a script. I remembered the countless nights she'd woken me up, crying, showing me a string of threatening texts from a blocked number. I'd held her for hours, promising her she was safe, that I would never let anyone hurt her. I remember the adrenaline, the fear that someone was out there trying to take her from me. That was all fake. My mind reeled to the worst night of all, the night Mark showed up at our apartment, pounding on the door and screaming her name. I'd stood in front of her, my body a shield, while I called the police with shaking hands. The restraining order I'd helped her file, the days spent in court, the money we'd spent on a better security system, it was all part of an elaborate play, and I was the only one who didn't know the lines. An actor? My voice was hollow. I looked at the woman across from me, the woman whose hand now wore my ring, and I saw a complete stranger. My last boyfriend cheated on me, she explained, her voice pleading. He destroyed me. I swore I would never let that happen again. I had to know you were different. I had to know you would protect me, that you were really loyal. She actually pulled out her phone and showed me a website. Fidelity Assurance Services, it read. Test their love. Secure your future. There were packages. The flirtation test, the financial temptation, and the one she'd apparently chosen. The ex-partner interference scenario. I looked at the photos of the actor she'd hired. The man I knew as Mark. His profile described him as a specialist in sustained high-conflict roleplay. For 5 years, this man had been a paid villain in our love story. Our entire relationship, the foundation of trust and protection I thought we'd built, was a lie. That shared trauma that I thought had bonded us, made us stronger. It was a service she'd paid for, a $5,000 invoice for a 5-year deception. I wasn't her hero. I was a subject in an experiment, so all of it. I started, my throat tight, the fear, the tears. It was all an act? The fear was real, she insisted. I was always scared you would fail, that you wouldn't protect me and I'd have to leave you. But you passed, you see? You passed every single time. We're stronger than ever because of it. Now we know for sure. I looked at her, and the final piece of my broken heart turned to dust. She didn't get it. She actually believed her test had brought us closer. I slowly reached across the table and took her left hand. It was trembling. For a moment, a flash of hope crossed her face. She thought I was going to hold it. Instead, I gently slid the engagement ring off her finger. I placed it back in its velvet box and closed the lid with a soft, final click. The test is over, I said, my voice steady for the first time all night. You failed.